Hey guys, so we're at Brantley Lake State Park in New Mexico, just outside of Carlsbad, New Mexico. Probably what, 15-minute drive to Carlsbad, not counting the road into the campground. Something to be aware of when you do come in here. When you turn off the main road, you're going to go across a set of cattle guards. It's a pretty windy two-lane road. There's a lot of erosion on the sides, and there's a lot of oil field traffic. So you just got to pay attention. Don't drag your camper through the big washouts on the sides. That's, I think, probably 5 miles. And then when you turn into the state park, you're going to come down through, and that's probably another 2 to 3 miles when you get here.
There's also cows.
Yes, there's also cows, as Sue mentions. I mentioned the cattle guard. I didn't tell you why the cattle guard. There's free range cows. So the cows will be wandering around. You may just see one in the road. So keep an eye open for that. They don't really run out in front of you, from what I can tell, but you might come around the corner and find one in the road. So we're just going to walk around. Not really invade anybody's privacy with the sites, but there are a lot of sites that are problematic if you've got a bigger rig. Some are not very long and some are not very level. So we'll try to kind of point that out as we walk, and kind of go from there. We'll probably fast forward until we get to a site that we want to talk about, maybe. But we're in 17. Every one of the sites has one of these covered picnic tables, which is really nice, and they have a pad that's like 10 by 10 for tent camping. So 18 is a good site. So 19 and 20 are both decent sites. But here's a good example coming up on our right, site 22. It's fairly unlevel, which may not be easy to see on camera. But like for our camper, if we backed in there, the nose would be actually on the ground and the steps would be about 3 feet off the ground. Could you make it work? Sure. There are about 50 sites here. And out of those 50, I think about 10 or 11 are first come, first serve, and the rest are reserve. We have noticed that the first come, first serves are not completely full, but like this one here is not terribly long. So if you had slides on both sides, you couldn't really back in at an angle. Just something to be aware of. I think if you got here and had a real problem, you could probably move to a first come, first serve site, or potentially just take another site if there's nobody in it, knowing that if somebody shows up and that's their reserve site, you'll have to move. But the way this works is the sites are two handicap sites too. Sorry, I'll interrupt my train of thought. But 28 and 29 are both handicap. You do have to, I believe, have a handicap placard on display to use those, just as an FYI. Bathhouse with shower stalls on our left, nice and clean. The men's room has 3 different shower stalls, and from what I could tell, they were no charge. If you step over here and you look at site 30, you can see, would a 30-foot rig fit? Sure. Our rig, if we back the tires up to the edge of the hot top, would hang off the back, no problem. We could get unhooked, we could park the truck beside it, but our step is in the back, which would mean our step would be about 5 feet off the ground. So, you have to use a little bit of, well, I guess you can't really use common sense when you're looking at their map. I guess that's why we're kind of doing this video. Site 32 is a beautiful site. About a foot of incline the whole length. Site 33 has got a pretty good downhill slope and it's fairly short. .34 is a real nice site. 35 you see is plenty big. Full-size truck and a camper in the campsite. 36 is very flat and big. 38 is a beautiful site. Again, though, if our RV, it'd be a step down off the steps just because of the way the site is graded, but a beautiful shot of the lake, as Sue mentioned. There are a couple pull-through sites. I use that term loosely because they're not huge, but here's one in front of us. You can see that's a pretty big motorhome, and it does fit, but 40 is a real nice site. And again, power and water. I think every site in here has power and water. So this is what I was saying, like a 40, if we'd have got here and couldn't fit in our reserve site, 40 was open, I certainly could have backed in there, and life would have been good. I don't know what that does with your reservation, like, because everything is online here. So site 42, real nice site. Good view of the dam and the lake. Site 43 is a decent site. There's another pull through. This one's actually really nice. It's quite big. Like even with our rig, we could pull the rig around so the steps are somewhere near the covered picnic table and then park the truck behind it. 46 is a nice big site. A little bit of slope, about a foot of slope front to back. The one thing you'll notice with these sites, what they try to do, and like with 46 here, you guys probably can't tell the grade because of the camera, but you can see the crack in the asphalt there. They try to pitch it down and then flatten it out. So from the crack back is fairly level. From the crack to here is about a foot of pitch. So they do try to actually, make it fairly usable.
47 is very flat.
Very flat, a little short on the asphalt, but plenty of room behind it. 48 is a nice pull through. And the road you see to your right is just down to the day use area, so there's almost no traffic. We've been down there 3 times, haven't seen a car down there. There's a dead tree in this one, which 49, nice little site. The other thing too with these is the width of the site. Sometimes if you got an RV like ours where both sides open, the thing turns out to be something like 16 feet wide. So you have to watch as you pick your sites too, when you're watching these videos of ours or somebody else's, to see if there's room between your utilities and a tree or a building to get all your slides out. Site 51 is a nice site. So this is technically the last site, but we started in the middle. So when you come in, you'll be coming in from the right of the stop sign, and you can take a right there to go around half the loop, or you can go up and go around this loop. It's all one way except for, this road right in front of you. This is site 1. This is a sewer site as well, and I believe a first come first serve site because I don't see a reserve sign, a reservation sign on it. The second site is the campground host, which is also sewer, water, and electric. So these few sites up around here are the tricky ones. So site, 3 and 4, 4 and 5, 3 and 4, and on. We'll show you each one of these. So 3 is really short. We could make it work, but it is really short. 4 is definitely short as well, and you'll see it's got a pole in the back, so you cannot hang the back of the camper out over there. Site 5 would be another problematic site for us because it's very downhill, and then the back of the camper would have to hang way off there, and our steps would be like 5 feet in the air.
A little bit unlevel as far as it's got a grade down all the way from the front to the back, but at least it's consistent and it is long.
7 is another one of those downhill short sites where you have stuff behind you and you have a width constraint of a tree and a power pole if you have a really wide rig. 9 is a nice big site. The rest of these are pretty decent sites actually. 12 is a nice site. Nice.
It would be tough for us.
13 is another nice site. 14 is a huge site. 15 is a nice site. maybe a little hard to get into with a big rig because you're backing around a sharp corner to get into it. 16's a super easy back in because it's straight with the road.
Nice big site.
On the other side of our rig, on the driver's side, our living room slide is about 3 or 4 inches from all the utilities. You know, on this side, we're only a few inches from the tree. Now we could have stayed forward probably 6 or 8 feet and the slide would have cleared the tree. We could have maybe got our awning out, but then we'd be right on the edge of the road, and we don't really need the awning out here. It doesn't rain much here, except for yesterday. Even then it didn't rain much.
And they provide these really cool shelters for a nice shaded place to sit.
So there's our step. I carry 2 spare tires, and one of the spare tires, of course, doesn't fit under the camper. I've got a sheet of 3/4 inch plywood bolted to it that I can take off quickly on the side of the road if I need to, but it makes a beautiful step for the bottom because our camper on a level ground is still taller off the ground than it should be for the first step. If you follow what I'm saying, it's about 8 or 9 inches per step, and the bottom one is about 12 inches on level ground. So some things to note about this campground is there are no rangers on site. During the day, you may find a ranger at the ranger station at the beginning, and I don't know if you could go up and knock on a door and if he'd come out and answer any questions for you or not, but it's pretty much a honor system where you make your reservation online, you come in here, you do your thing. There's a pay box for the first come first serve sites, but everything reservation wise is done online now. There is no in-person reservations. You have to do them online, and that's probably the only gotcha I can think of, and I think that's true of a lot of the state parks in New Mexico. Some may have rangers and some may not, but they're all online reservations. $14 a night for power and water. $10 a night if you get one with no power, which I didn't see any in here with no power.
There's primitive camping up the road.
Okay, Sue said there's primitive camping up the road, and you could probably haul your camper right down on the beach if you wanted to. So yeah, I think that kind of covers it. Well, hopefully this will be helpful for somebody. If you want to stay here in the future, you can kind of look at 2 or 3 of these videos and look at sites, which is what we've done. That's why we have this site. It was one of 3 that were available, and all of the YouTube pictures and stuff we looked at, we trusted we could fit in here. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe.